Hey guys, welcome into the A Mountain Sports interview series. I'm your host, Phil Mayer. I'm joined today by another Aggies basketball coach. We talked to Jason Hooten a couple weeks ago. Today we have the pleasure of hearing from Aggies head women's coach, Jody Adams. Coach, thanks for chatting today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So your first season at New Mexico State is in the books. How much more comfortable are you going into year two with some success, some experience under your belt?
Well, I don't know if comfortable is the word, because there has been so much change, with the portal. And we had so many young women that were seniors when I took over the program. So a big change there with rebuilding as far as bringing in different pieces to add to our team, and then transitioning with staff, us moving from the WAC and wanting to hire experienced staff. And obviously New Mexico State just supported me with that, and just my vision of that in a couple of different positions there. But so I preach to my players, get comfortable being uncomfortable. So I've been a little bit of uncomfortable, but I will tell you, it has made me better. These young women just coming in for the first time, it really, I looked at the 6 returners we have, and then the 9 that we have brought in now, and really what our culture stood for last year, and just so excited about how these 6 young women have taken just that 1 year of experience in our culture and how it has cultivated already into this next year, and using it to just embrace the young women that have, came into Las Cruces.
Absolutely. So you talk about culture. Obviously, you're a disciple of the great Pat Summitt. What does it sort of take to build a culture when you're at a new school?
I think the first thing right off the bat is cultivating trust. And I wanted to do that, and in order for me to be able to do that, I wanted to be transparent. I wanted them to see the humility in me. It doesn't really matter to me what's behind my name. I didn't score any of those buckets in any of those championships that I got to be a part of as a coach. Those are for, our student athletes. And, so trust was really big right off the bat. And I really wanted to share my story. And I shared my story with them as a group of just transitioning out of Wichita State into taking a year off and pausing, working on myself and evolving, to hopping back in as an associate head coach at Southern Illinois, to winning a championship there with a great friend in Cindy Stein. And then, God's blessed me with an opportunity, and, Mario has just followed through with offering me that. So it's gone from, from the trust to really telling my story so they know my heart. And then hopefully they'll trust me to get to know their heart.
Yeah, absolutely. So you brought in a few new members to your coaching staff. What do you sort of expect them to bring to the table, and how will they help you this year?
Well, the first one right off the bat has, been huge. We had so many pieces to bring in after a big graduating class, and then one chose, and I left it up to them. One chose to transfer and enter the portal, and one ended up using her COVID year to go and experience something different somewhere else. And that's how I think it should be, at the end of the day. But the first hire for me was a junior college head coach. And the reason why is I'm not used to big numbers coming in and going out. I'm used to your typical, let's sign 3, let's even out our classes, right? So, but I knew I had to evolve through that. So I had to hire, and I wanted to hire to fill in that void. So this person, James Frey, coach of the year, team was ranked number 1 in the country at South Georgia Tech last year. And he's probably been tried to, people have tried to hire him everywhere, but he has connections all over the world. So his international connections, and obviously just the respect he has as a human in the junior college ranks, was very, very unique and special. So he was the first one. And Then I hired someone that was really loved being on the court. I wanted maybe a younger, just me teacher. Loves the details of getting, feet set, ball placement, some things that would make an athlete like even quicker, more explosive, and more effective. And so I hired that in Jaron Harris. So he does our player development, and he's on the men's side of the junior college. And then I heard two young women, Raven from Pepperdine. She had been a head recruiter at Jack State. She'd been in the junior college ranks too at Pepperdine here of recent. And she's our head recruiter. So I have a young connector as a recruiter. And then last but not least, I mean, this is my right hand and everything that we do. I trust her with so much is Kinsia Barnes. And, she's been in the junior college ranks. She actually coached with Coach Frey for 6 years. And then she went off, she's been a Division I coach, and she's been an assistant coach. So a lot of different experiences, for her, but all four of my hires have had junior college experience. So that right there was huge. And just looking at it in black and white, right? But what mattered the most to me were their hearts and where their heart posture was. Why were we doing this? Is it to serve? I'm hiring you. If it's for money, I'm not hiring you. Because there's not enough money to pay us for the hours we spend with these young women and the time that is invested, or the time that keeps us away from our own families. So it truly has to be their heart and their heart posture to serve others and to care for others, and to help them grow up and go on this journey with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you're loaded up with a bunch of people who share the similar mission. So now that you've coached at a couple of schools, what do you see in New Mexico State that makes you think you can build a winner here?
Thank you. You make me sound young. I've only coached at a couple of schools. Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, I'm going to tell you, every experience from leaving Tennessee as a student, I got to stay a year extra and coach as like a student assistant. So from, switching roles there to rolling into Auburn, right? To just played against them, to Wake Forest, to BCS schools, to mid-majors, to rebuilding programs. The thing that has remained in every stop is why, my purpose. And it everybody thinks, you're about winning. One, you get tied. Okay, Pat Summit. Then I played for the most winningest coach in high school. That's all I think about is winning. Well, yeah, I'm a competitor, no doubt. And winning is important. But I think it's how we use the game of basketball, because it's not who we are. It's what we do that has transitioned everywhere. And just, getting older, wiser, making mistakes has evolved me into where we are today. And Las Cruces is a very, very special place. And it's truly because of the people here.
Absolutely. So here with A-Mountain Sports, we're obviously working with NIL here. How much do you expect NIL to help your program, and how do you feel about it sort of in general?
Well, I am just ecstatic about it. Number one, where we are, where we're located. Like I said, our community is truly invested, in the student athletes, and how it can help us is it can help us with cost of attendance. It can do so many different things with so many different young women. I mean, because our backgrounds are from all over the country. So we have international players, right? So trying to find a way that we can still help them, gain extra. But to me, extra is earned. And our student athletes earn that. I mean, we're in the community. We work hard. Our kids come in on their own and put in extra time. I don't have to say a word because they absolutely love it. So how it will help us, I think not only it'll help us, but we will help a business.
Yeah.
We will shed light on a business because of that young woman that you decide to put on that billboard or on the radio, or to talk about, your company. And or the sponsorships, or however they want to go about it, the t-shirts and this and that. I will wear every one of them proudly, and I would hire every one of them proudly. So I just think the NIL is just endless of possibilities, and that's how I look at it. And to have A Mountains, and Paulie's just phenomenal. I mean, he loves this. This is his wheelhouse. This is his genius, and I'm sitting there just blown away, like, can you spend every day with us for a while? Just wanting to learn more and how his mind works. It just blows me away because I naturally don't think that way as a coach, but he has opened my mind up and my heart up to how we can use this to really, really be able to recruit, you know, and bring anybody here. I mean, why not? You have coaches that can teach. You can go pro from here. The town is great. There's no humidity. It's a beautiful place, right? There's great food. It's just endless possibilities. But you got to have a driving force, and Paul, no doubt, is that driving force and A Mountain and what he does. But I'm just grateful I get to hand it off, and he gets to roll with it in whatever direction he wants to go. But I'm excited, and it's truly because of how we play and how we treat people.
Yeah, definitely. Paul's the man. He's put a lot of effort into this. So let's talk about your playing career a bit. As I mentioned, you played under Pat Summitt. What's it like to kind of look back and think like, dang, I really played for one of the most legendary coaches of all time?
Well, first of all, it was such an honor. I mean, you look at my stature, you're 5'4" young kid, about 120 pounds, and my first relationship, it started with her watching me in 8th grade, and I tore my ACL in front of her, and she carried me off the court. Well, there at that time, that was a long time ago. I've been at several schools, so it was said I would never play again. Right. So we weren't satisfied with that. I mean, I love playing. I love the competition. I love the hard. I love the family atmosphere. I love seeing my teammates do well. And I was like, Dad, I want to find somebody that will operate on me. Well, being a young woman that's only 8, there's that part of cutting through a growth plate now you're going into, right? So to make a long story short, a rehab, come back, get back on the circuit, miss my 9th grade year of playing at Bradley Central High School, and Pat started recruiting me again. Well, not only did she call Coach Smitty, which at that time was the most winningest high school coach. He was passed eventually by someone in Texas, and I don't know the person's name. But anyways, he called him, but she called my doctor. So Dr. Lipscomb operated on her in the Olympics. And so she asked him, well, do you think she can handle, the vigor of play, the physicality, this, that, and the other? And he said, Coach, I don't know anything about basketball, but I know this young lady is tougher than you. So that's why I got a scholarship. Bottom line. She was like, okay, she's tough, right? So at the end of the day, I ended up committing to them before my junior season in high school. And my senior year at Tennessee, first week of practice, one of the top 5 point guards in the country, I tore my other ACL, and she carried me off. So the story is this: basketball is what we do. It's not who we are. And I had to learn that through 2 trying times. And I also learned at a very early age that, God would get me through anything if I just have big belief, right? And have had great faith. So, she has taught me so much. So I'm so very humbled and blessed to be on a stage and opportunity to share. And everybody said she couldn't coach today. Yes, she could. She loved people. She loved people, and she was a competitor. So the fact that everything's evolving and society is changing, we just have to evolve. Me too. We have to evolve. Basketball is basketball. It's a hard sport. You chose it. But how we get these guys to play a hard sport and do hard, enjoy, and with each other is our culture. And she taught me that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people talk about culture. Well, she had the definite dozen. John Wooden had the pyramid of success. right? Coach K has the 5 that turn to the fist, so we all have our, culture, right? Well, my culture playbook is family. Forget about me, I love you. So it's servanthood. Own the moment. So we're going to take ownership of our 20 square feet. So we're going to be accountable. We're not going to BCD, blame, complain, and defend, or become the victim of our circumstance. So we're growing young women. And the last one is because of those first 2 things, we will want to outwork and compete because we love each other, we're for each other, we empower each other. And it's okay in our program to take ownership, take blame, not be perfect. We don't chase perfection. We just chase progression. And we're always about 1% each and every day getting better. But, she just taught me so much about, she could see something that I was going to do that I never thought I would do, which was be a Division I coach. I thought I'd be a high school coach. That's my family. We were all educators, and that's what I laid my eyes on. Well, she saw this for me, and Jody, try this. And so I did. And without her vision, and I just think great leaders have vision for their players that are way bigger than mom and dad even see.
Yeah.
And to help them understand what their gifts are, what their hearts are about, and to gain discipline as they walk through this journey in college. And, the more discipline we have in our life, the more freedom we get.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have maybe like one story about Coach Summit that sort of like encapsulates who she was and how she was able to build those, classic cultures?
Probably got more than one, but this one's in her book. So, like I said, she was about getting the best of us. And in order to get the best of anybody, we got to get to your hearts. And that's where our culture retreat, we just finished our culture retreat of 2 nights. And of just talking about our stories and owning our stories. I mean, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And so it was the week before SEC tournament, and it's called Hell Week. And we practice in the alumni gym that's on the top of some hill on Tennessee campus with a rickety floor. I swear, no nets, backboards were sideways. I mean, it was a hot mess. It was hot in there. I mean, just hard, right? We were going to do hard before we had to go do hard or harder. We're going to be prepared, whatever hit us. So we're in there and we're going. It's a team of 10 with 1 walk-on. A team of 10. So I had the best post player in the country. Wingman, Dina Head from Michigan was great. Lisa Harrison, best player out of Kentucky. I mean, list could go on and on, but there's just 10 of us and a walk-on. But we're running a drill, and she said I didn't say outlet. And I said outlet. And so she said, Adams, I told you that you cannot go into these SEC tournament, be bopping around like a cheerleader. You got to have purpose in your walk and purpose in your talk. And you did not say outlet. We're running a drill. It ain't even 5-on-5, right? But she got her point across. She kicked me out. I said, no, I'm not going. I'm going to run your team until you leave. They were like, go. So I went, called my dad when I got back to the dorm. Dad, Pat kicked me out of practice. Of course, I was crying. I was upset. And he's like, well, what'd you do? Did you not, do X, Y, Z? And I said, no, I didn't say outlet. And he said, well, say outlet. Hung up. So next day, I walked in with my teammates. I had taped Be Vocal across their chest, on their back. I put it on my knee pads, on the top of their shoes. We locked arms, and they wanted to do it. Walked in like this together with Be Vocal across, my chest. So they were empowering me, right? To be vocal. We trust you with what you say. So I know Pat's telling you to do this. She just used a small example, which was very, we think would be petty to teach, but it's not. It's a greater thing today in my life at my age of 52. And so the story is, the details and the positions that you run and, what someone sees in you. And when there is trust, I trusted Pat, even though I was mad that she was kicking me out of practice. But being vocal from that day forward was a whole different story, and look for her. I got to say probably anything I wanted to, right? And so we would go on and to win a national championship that year with the 10 of us in overtime against Virginia and Dawn Staley's team.
Wow, that's quite the story. What about maybe one story about what she did off the court or outside of practice that really helped build that trust?
Mhm. She created a family. Not all of us had a family. Not everybody was blessed to come from a two-parent home. Some people don't have parents. Um, what family meant to people that were coming in and recruited to Tennessee was different. Maybe how she was going to build a family atmosphere. But I thought she did a great job of building a family atmosphere where we got together. We sat down at the table. We went out to her house. We played in the lake, and she really just let us, enjoy each other. But to have her mom there cooking and her sister there cooking, and that was just, it was really just special. And that is something, and it's not just that's why I start with family. Forget about me and I love you. But it's truly from my heart of what I learned at home. And then I saw it from the best in the world. She served. And there's nothing better than sitting down and breaking bread with somebody. So she served us, she waited on us. And so that's what we do here.
Yeah,
And I'm honored to pay it forward, really.
definitely. Okay, that was some great stuff. So right before we go, we're just gonna ask you a couple quick questions so that people can get to know you a little bit better about some off the court stuff. So
Okay.
I know as coaches, you guys are busy all the time, but when you do get some free time, what do you like to do?
Oh, it's kind of crazy what I like to do. Nobody would really think this, but I have two dogs. So I spend time with them walking. Now that I'm over here in the desert, we walk the desert, we get in the dirt. And so I do a lot of walking and reflecting, and I do a lot of reading. So I really take time to pause, and I really want to make sure that, and I enjoy that. So that's part of it. And then the other part is spending time with my family and close friends. They're the ones that are my encouragers. They're my soft spots. So I love my family time, and I love my friends, and having fun. It doesn't matter what we do, literally. Dirt, sand, water. Let's go. Shoot and ski. It doesn't matter. Target shooting. We from the South, so we got all of that in the backyard, and we have a good time. We're always competing. So nieces and nephews. Now my nephew's grown up. Now I'm scared to play one-on-one with them. So I basically sit at one end of the pool, and they jump off the diving board, and so I'm throwing them a football or whatever, and we're keeping score that way. Jody didn't get in the pool with them anymore. But so that's what fills my heart back up, my tank, and just gives me just the encouragement to continue to do, what the purpose and the plan that God had for me.
Definitely. Okay, you mentioned reading. Do you have one book you read recently that you really liked or a favorite one of all time?
Let me see, Getting to Neutral. So I did It Takes What It Takes, and then I think the next one was Getting to Neutral, and very true.
Okay.
Those things are very true. It wasn't, and I read that to read it. I'm more in, because of society and behavioral things, and really big into emotions and connecting. So we do a lot of the E+R=O. Focus 3 was really huge in my life, and doing a lot of, spending a lot of time in their podcast and with one of their members on staff over the past 8 years. It really helped me combine the gifts of basketball I had as a teacher and motivator, encourager, to also what really drives winning. And it's from the heart. So it helped me with the words, and then understanding what is today's society, why are we struggling, or why are these young people struggling? And it's really understanding you have nothing to be scared of. This is your soft spot.
Yeah.
We're not, basketball, we're just gonna have fun with it, right? We're just gonna let it teach us. And so we do a lot with emotional training and behavioral things, and that we want to practice winning ways, as I call them.
Okay. All right. Last one, real quick before we go. do you have a favorite meal that you like to make or just eat?
Well, that's a hard one because I like everything. I would say if I was going to bake you something, I would probably bake you my chocolate chip cookies or make you my great grandmother's banana pudding. So her banana pudding has a little bit of sour cream in it, which is weird, right? My chocolate chip cookies has vanilla pudding in it, which
Oh,
is weird. So other
wait.
than that, I don't use the grill because I have PTSD of one way back when I started it. So somebody else always has to do the meat. But I'd say my green beans and stuff like that are legit. We're gonna put some, hog in it, a little bit of everything in it. But what's really cool though is getting into your internationals cuisine, Colombian food. I
Ooh.
love it. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome. If you're not already, please follow us on Twitter at AMTN Sports. Check out our website, AggieNIL.com. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on alerts for more interviews just like this one. Coach, best of luck next year.
Hey, thank you. Go Aggies.